Hey creatives, we're going to use some scraps to make cards today. But before we get started, I would like to invite you to my April card class, which is April 30th, Friday. And we're going to be using some 6x6 designer series paper and whatever stamp set you want to use. I'm going to be using a particular one, and I am inviting you. Just register here, and I'd be happy to have you join me. Alrighty, let's get started. So here we have a whole ton of papers that, as I was working and creating, I had these extras and they just kind of pile up on the side of the desk, and I needed to get rid of them because I have tons of these things. So what I did was I took the card stock that was maybe solid and put that in one area, and then the designer series papers I put into a different category. So what I'm doing is I'm getting rid of the nonsense, so the things that I can't really use, like where I did cutouts or I punched or something like that, and I'm just trimming things up. For the most part, getting rid of something that I can't use or making it a size that makes it workable. So see, I'm keeping those and putting the rest in the garbage. Sometimes it's just such a mess that I can't even think. Even when I wanted a piece of cardstock, I have tons of cardstock that I'll probably do another video to show you that. It's amazing. Now, some of these are older versions of some celebration items. It's just a matter of deciding what I was going to put in. I tried to get rid of some of the papers, and this is what happened. So I'm just kind of snagging it in a way that I can work with. And this particular one, I was making it so I could use it as a card front, and then I decided, since I already had one like that, I wanted to see if I could use these as embellishments. At this point, I decided that. So just kind of getting things to a point where I can use them as a background. You say, you get it. I'm sure you get it. And it's taking just a little too long on this side, right? If you're enjoying this, can you please subscribe if you haven't already? And if you have, thank you. All right, so sometimes you have to pick out some cardstock as a base. And I had originally tried to do a card with these pieces here. You can see they're already cut out into triangles. And I'm sort of like, what am I going to do with these? I decided, well, let's put them out there. I already cut them so they fit the card front. Might as well use them. They didn't use them in the way I wanted to originally. So they're here. Why waste them? Let's get them on there. And it actually, if you're going to put glue down, it's best to make sure your hands are clean. I went to wipe away some glue, and I don't know, I must have had some fluff on my fingers because they made that center a little messy, just a little bit, but I fix it in the end. So what's nice about the designer series paper, especially this 6x6 kind, the backs coordinate to the fronts. And I just thought, this is a really cool looking card. Yeah. And I took the excess piece and decided to, well, hey, let us hide that little mark I have with the fingerprint. So there it is. I thought that worked out nicely. The idea is prepping these cards and then putting the sentiment on. And at the end of the video, I show you what I'm talking about. So the card bases are there, they're set up, they have a design on them, and then you could, oh, excuse me. Oh my goodness, it's allergy season here, and I got to share that with you. I'm so sorry. All right, so these are two different designer series papers. One is the Butterfly Gala or Butterfly Boutique or something like that. bouquet butterfly something. And then the designer series paper from, well, I think it's from, I don't know. So they match together. The blues kind of go together. And I liked it. I thought it came out nicely. And the gingham, who doesn't? Well, I guess there are people that don't like gingham, but I like gingham. And I wanted something on the front here. Sad story here. Our circle punches are retiring. I can't believe that. That is just, it blows my mind. I don't think I can get rid of my circle punch. I use them all the time. All right, so the butterfly DSP, gathering all of them up. This is how I kind of work this out in my head. I gather like items together. These are all cuts from when I designed some pages, and I'm just trying to figure out how I want to do this. Now, that works, but it wasn't doing it for me. And then I realized, well, geez, just turn it over and it's going to work for me. And I just straightened it out. There was a little, nudge on that one side. So, and now I'm going to make it. Oh, of course, Lacey has to speak her mind. God knows who she is yelling at. There's nobody here. And now Buggy has to start. Hang on. Oh, I had to go back so that I could redo this because they were just yelling. Oh my God, I hate when they do that. In any case, so just making sure that the trim is, the little panels that I'm putting in there is coordinating nicely. Because once you have one that's off, it just stands out like a sore thumb. Now the backs of these actually coordinate nicely, even though they are not in line, because once you separate them with the background in the back, there's the pink, and then I have a little bit, it just really looks good. It almost looks like it goes together. So taking that extra piece and throwing it into the interior, and then I'm going to use this card. I'm going to use this at the end to show you how I would take this and then make it into a card that I need. And I have tons of cards that I make, obviously, because I do these demonstrations. But sometimes, there's one that you need and you just... So this is why I thought this would be a great idea. I'm just making these card bases ready to roll. All right, share and leave a comment if you don't mind, because that helps, believe it or not, the logarithm. Oh, here are these hearts that I cut apart. So I have one card base, and then I have the cut apart ones. I don't know if this is the one I do that with. Excuse me. Let's see, where are we? I think I'm trying to figure out where I want to go with this. Now, this butterfly DSP really goes nicely with, excuse me again, with the black cardstock as a background. Black and yellow, it really makes those butterflies pop up. And, it depends on your thing. We have tons and tons of butterflies, butterfly stamps, butterfly dies. It's so much fun. Getting butterflied. Oh, they want to start up again. I don't know. It's because the hubby's outside working in the yard. So taking pieces and just trying to use them as accents, that's what I do. I'm just throwing things together. And as you can see, rather than have it sit in a pile, I'm using up all these pieces and making these cards. It's really working out nicely, I thought. In the end, it came out very nice. Now you can see that one piece of purple. That's the only scrap I had of purple, and it really wasn't going with anything. So I think that eventually made it into the trash. It's so hard to get rid of papers, don't you think? Oh my gosh. Let me know in the comments if you're able to, if you have piles and piles of scraps from all your card making. So these are two different DSPs again, putting them together because they color coordinate, and I'm going to use each side. So it at first, so we put that one there, the butterflies, and then the backgrounds from the butterflies, and it really goes nicely. So, and what are they? They may be just a little over an inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch, and then an inch maybe. It's really, they just giving a little space in between the panels. And then that is from a DSP that matches the one on the far left. And it has writing on it. And I just love that. I didn't even cut this. It was just a piece sitting there. And I said, whoa, wait, this works. And same with that one. And all I have to do is make a sentiment and pop that baby on there. And it's going to work. Now, that I come back to revisit these later on, the interiors, and you'll see, there they are. I had these two pieces, and I thought, oh my goodness, that wasn't going to make a card for me, so I decided to put it on the interior of those cards, and it just a little interest on the inside, see, and it's ready to roll. I love that. I'm so proud of myself with this. All right, so now here's the thing. Cardstock that's just solid in color, you can always go to and pull out the scraps. I do have a ton of scraps from cardstock, plain cardstock. The DSP, however, that's the hardest one that I have in utilizing that, because we get new stamps, we get new paper. And here I'm playing around with those cards. I know I'm going to cut out these hearts. Sorry, the cards. I'm going to cut them out. I think I'm going to use them as a pop-up, but then I'm just not liking the way it looks. We tend to know right away. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we're looking at it and we just can't figure it out. We want to use something, and then we put it down and we say, oh, no, that's not going to work because it's not pleasing to your eye. So I could have popped them up in the center, but it wasn't doing it for me. I just, see, I was trying to figure out, I didn't like it. It was a waste in my mind. It's better to use them in another card. I just decided, why do that? I can make another card. And then just added some of the background. Like I said, the other side of this. Now, I found it easier to use my paper trimmer to sort of trim off this and I had to do it a couple of times, which is why you see it, just to make sure I didn't screw up, because sometimes I have ish. And now look, isn't that cute? I think that looks good. All right, off to the side it goes. Now we're going to work on the second one. And I thought, right like that, right? It's simple. And then I got to have a second card prepped that uses the same DSP. And in case you didn't know, DSP means designer series paper. That means that a designer developed it and then they printed it off. La la la. And I didn't pop anything up because I wanted these to be very simple. See, I got smart. I used my rag to get rid of the excess glue this time. All right, so this is, we're getting down to the wire here. This is Flirty Flamingo, I think. I don't know, have you noticed, have you seen, do you know that we have a lot of retiring items, and right now there's a sale on most of them, anywhere between 10 to 60% off. So if you wanted to, you can go and check out the list or you can give me a message and I will connect you with some link to help you find those things. Now look at that. Those are two different ones. Now these were my nemesis. I had trimmed them off because I had an issue with them on a card. I had to redo the card, but I didn't want to get rid of that. Now, this paper has yellow in it. Remember I said that the yellow in the cardstock of the DSP really pops. And although you might not think to use yellow with this, it works because there is yellow in the butterflies. I don't know that you can see how really it makes the yellow within the butterflies pop out of there. And just as a coordinating factor, I put in a black cardstock over the center of that, and that's probably where I'll put a sentiment eventually. And it just makes that butterfly come forward in my mind. That's what works for me. Everything is subjective to a person's, like or dislike. There we go. That's that one. And I'm going to be showing you all the ones I did. We're going to lay them out. And then if you stay tuned, I'm going to take one of the cards and I'm going to show you how I intend on using them. So you can see all the different ones. Some of these things were, the cardstock I may have had to pull out of my stash, but all of the things that are on top, all of the designer series paper, they all came from scraps and leftovers. And so this way I don't have to have this pile of scraps and that just drive me crazy. And I got a bunch of cards. I think that's pretty good. All right, let's take one of them. Here's that one. Remember this one? I'm using Dragonfly Garden, and it has a thank you. It says thank you for your care or something like that. So I'm going to put a Post-it note over everything else but thank you. And I had to recheck because the Y part was getting covered, and I didn't check that out until there it is. So I realized I have to move that off to the side. And I just make sure it sticks well. And then I get my gray inking pad and just one more time to make sure it's going to stay there. And Lacey's going to drive me crazy. And stamping it up, get rid of that Post-it note. And now I'm going to put it on, and I check to see if I have a smaller white cardstock, because I do. I have tons of the blank ones. And I chose this one, very vanilla, because it matches the card a little better. And just holding it firm until the ink absorbs. There we go. And let's get that out of the way, because I'll get my hands in that thing. Trim that off, put some glue on it, and then we're going to just use some embellishment. It does look a little bland and plain right now because all it is cardstock. I mean, it's very simple and it works, but we need something else on there just to fudge it up a little bit, making sure it stays down. And I'm going to be looking for some embellishments to put on here. Open it up. Boom. Thank you. We're gonna put something else on here. Let's go get it. All right. See the close-up? Isn't that pretty? I like that one. I like the mottled paper. Now I'm gathering up. That's the reason why you do not see anything right now. I'm gathering up some ribbon, and like I said, there's tons of things that are retiring, and if you really want to take part of a sale, this would be the time to do it. I don't know how many things are going to be there. Obviously, it's a good time to buy, but also a good time where things go out of stock very quickly because everybody's scapping up everything they liked. Now this woven ribbon is really stretchy, so I have to really work with it to get the bow exactly the way I want it. And of course you realize I am kind of like nutsy about how my bows look. Yeah, not so much. So getting it to a place I like, I'm gonna snip. Let's snip that off, see how that looks. Of course, I'm not using a very good pair of scissors for this. I'm going to have to recut it. So we're just gonna go trim that little side off and then trim the other side off, just because I want it to be the same length. And getting the gold trim ribbon that is the match for this, rolling some up, and then I'm going to get a glue dot. So I'm moving the ends up out of the way, getting a glue dot, and I'm going to stick these into the glue dot. And that believe it or not, that's going to hold it. Okay, making a final decision here. Yep. And then a second glue dot on my ribbon, and we're going to sandwich that right there, and it's just enough. It has a little blingy, and it's just enough. I think that looks good. I hope you do too. If you are new here, please subscribe, please share, grow the community, and thanks for being here, and I'll see you next time. Bye.